What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the SSJ Cast, where we always go beyond. We're happy to be back this week. The three of us made the triumphant return, and we're ready to get into it. So I'm going to kick it to my co-host first and foremost to introduce themselves. Shout out to the man Snapback in Pencil. No Snapback this week. What's going on with you? Let the people know who you are and where to find you. Okay, and on to the next piece of news. Our man from the other side, Ultraman, has retired his armor for the week. How you feeling? And, Shaz, what's going on with you?
Tired. I haven't leached in a while, and I think my powers are fading away.
So Ultraman leeches. Okay, that's good to know.
100%.
New lore.
That's old lore, baby.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling real hard, and it's hard. It's hard being the cute one of the group sometimes. So.
I just have to remember I actually have to remember my phone, my camera's on, so when I retweet the stream. But that's great. That's great. I hope both of you all had a great week. I am Strix. My voice doesn't normally sound like that, but we got to put on for the one time. Okay.
I heard my light doing that. I kind of regret it.
Yeah, I don't know. Your whole camera and everything, like.
Bro.
Yo, Shaz, I thought back to when the chair broke, and I was just waiting for the entire desk to just boom.
I thought his whole floor was about to give out. I'm not gonna lie, dog.
Don't worry.
I'm not that fat.
Don't worry. Chat, thanks to all that movement and loud noise, about halfway through the show, the police will show up at Alejandro's house.
I'm waiting again.
Not my camera's off.
But let's get into it. Tonight and today and this week is relatively light on news. While a lot of stuff happened, I feel that there wasn't but a few very big stories that really caught us or even caught Twitter or social media in general ablaze with like fire, with heat, with lit emojis.
I think one of the news on here actually broke Twitter for a little bit when it came out. So
yeah, but I think that there wasn't much. So today we're gonna all go through. We have a few topics, gaming and movie related, per the usual. On the anime side of things, we will be hitting up our anime correspondent, and you'll find out who exactly that is when we get there. Okay, well, we just spoiled it. That's great. All right, so let's start. Let's start with some news that we didn't cover last week that was kind of important that we probably should have, right? And that is the announcement and the reveal of Borderlands 1 and 2. Borderlands 3 got finally announced. This is a game that people have been waiting on for, I don't know, like a decade, it feels like.
A decade?
Yeah, when did the last Borderlands come out?
It's been a hot second.
Borderlands, the pre-sequel came out 2014. Borderlands 2 came out. I feel like I was in high school, like 2012.
Yeah, that sounds like high school.
Came out 2012.
Yeah, Oof. It's almost been a decade.
That was almost.
It's been 7 years. It's been 7 years.
Yikes!
It hasn't been that long.
I was 17.
Alejandro, you were even more of a babby than you are now. You were playing Call of. He was playing Call of Duty Zombies on his bed, making his little YouTube videos. Dog, he was out here.
You know how correct you were.
Oh, remember we saw those videos.
We did. We did.
Oh,
we'll bring those to a special.
That was terrible.
We'll bring those to a special trailer. So let's just start off, I guess, from the jump point of what are either one of you all, whoever would like to start, what are y'all's feelings about? Let's start with Borderlands 3, the series as a whole. How are you feeling with a new release coming up?
I'm not buying it.
Okay.
No, I'd probably buy it if it was on sale. The thing with me in Borderlands is that I don't really play those games for like the story or anything. I like her character design. I like that character design a lot.
Okay.
I like a bunch of the designs and the things I saw in the trailer. Cities. I don't think we've had cities before in Borderlands. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
They have
played
they.
Sequel and I haven't
I'm
finished
I'm
two.
just gonna go with they have a lot of different locales this time around.
Yeah, the locale. Well, we have some new locales, we have some old locales, and it looks pretty interesting. But like I was saying, Borderlands for me has always been one of those games where I'm watching a movie or I'm watching an anime or something on the side while I'm playing the game. It's a mindless shooter for me, so I don't really pay attention to that game that much. But I'll play it. It's not bad. It's all right. I don't like the fact that it's like on like a limited time on Epic Game Launcher, but it's whatever. I don't care.
All right, we'll come back to that because that could bring a whole
Oh, we
conversation
will.
about the Epic, because that's something I guess we haven't really touched on that we can touch on. Shaz, what about you? How are you feeling going into the?
I mean, I could definitely. I mean, these games are pretty much made to play with friends. I would just need to play with friends, but if I was by myself, I don't see myself playing it because I'm not invested in the world because I've never really played one except for the first one for maybe like an hour or two, and that was really it. Um, I don't know. I mean, if I was gonna try one, I guess this one would be it. Because everyone could play a new version, and if we had friends who were fans of the old ones, they could play something new and not have to go through an old game. But I don't know. I won't even say I'm not interested in these type of looter shooter type of games because I do enjoy, you know, stuff like Destiny where you have loot drops and just loot drops in general, really. In any type of game like Monster Hunter or whatever, it's just yeah, it was never really on my radar. But I mean, if we wanted to play, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, it's not a series that was like priority for me. I'm glad a lot of people like it though. But like Alejandro said, I know there was some hubbub around the Epic Store, which I'm like, I really don't care about if I'm being honest.
Okay. Now I get all of what you're saying. I think from a story perspective, I still say the most compelling piece of Tales from the or Borderlands for me was Tales from the Borderlands. In terms of storytelling, gameplay has been fun. It kind of goes in hand. I never finished the second one just because at the time I was late to it and didn't have a group of friends to really play through it with. But 3 I think will be fun. On the looter shooter side of things, I am a little bit worried, mainly because I think we exist in a very different space now. Borderlands did kind of pioneer the genre, but with that being said, we exist now in a place that when this game releases, which is September of this year, could
so
be
not
insane.
too far away.
I could be insane, but I'm pretty sure they announced the release date was like September of this year. We will be in a world where Destiny 2 exists, The Division, Anthem, all of will be like fully into their release cycles or into another release cycle. Division just started like shipping some of its major announcements. We know that Anthem is going to have major releases every month. Destiny 2 is still finishing up its annual pass, and there's rumors of more stuff coming after that. So it's not the only looter shooter on the market. It's not the only way to queue up with your friends. And that's what, to me, makes me feel like they really do need to... They got to step up. Like, I want to see how different this is from the old formula, how deep they're going to allow you to go, and even how much are they going to expand on the previous formula. Because before, it really was just go here, kill some stuff, pick up a quest, go here. There was some late game content that was a lot more involved. But I think for the greater population, not a lot of people really got into that content. They kind of played through the story and let the game sit.
I don't know if you were trying to say this, but for me, like just looking at the trailer and looking at what people are saying, because I did look into this, it just kind of seems like I don't want to. I mean, this is the closest word I can think of. It kind of feels outdated in a way, just purely because of what's come out. I mean, it has been almost a decade since the last like numbered one. Yeah, we had the pre-sequel, but that was more fan service, if anything.
And going to what you're saying, like it has been literally a full. When
Like,
this game
feels
drops,
weird.
it will have been a decade since the first one came out.
It's the same feeling I got when Star Fox Zero came out.
Okay.
In that I was like, Star Fox 64. Like looking back on it, don't get me wrong, a lot of 64 games didn't run that well. Neither did Star Fox. But back then it was like, yo, this is like the improved version of the original Star Fox for the NES or whatever, right?
And if
And
I think, and you can kind of tell me if I'm getting
Mhm.
this right, what it needs to do is kind of what God of War had to do in the
mm,
wake of Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2,
mm.
kind of coming in and really becoming top dog in the genre. Like
Well,
it had to find a way to.
that was the biggest thing, right? Because as God of War was come out, that was I mean the big daddy of those like character action games, as a lot of people like to call them, is Devil May Cry. You know,
Yep.
that was the crazy that
Same with
is the
Devil May Cry
whole
5. Yep.
yeah, same thing. So that was the thing when God of War was coming out. It was like which is funny because that had its own like ghetto version with like Dante's Inferno, but it had God of War was seen as like the crazy, edgy cinematic, and it was great. Don't get me wrong; those games, for what they are super good.
Mhm.
But it wasn't nearly as in depth as Devil May Cry. But those games served the purpose, and I think it helped to get people that wanted to get into stuff like Devil May Cry into it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it away from anything from those games, but like Strix saying, after like Bayonetta and stuff, they were like, okay, we can't just have combos where they're like it's literally 5 squares and a triangle. We're past that point at this point. People know how to play video games. Okay, we have to do something. And they're like, you know what? The biggest criticism isn't really the gameplay, even though that is a thing. It's the story. So God of War made a story heavy game versus a gameplay heavy game, which is still really good, by the way. But yeah,
I think that's what Borderlands 3 has to do. Like Borderlands 3 has to take what they've learned from making the game, and then look at the current genre of the space and realize like, well, what did Borderlands do right, and how do we evolve on that? How do we make it so that people understand, like, because everybody's calling this like the granddaddy of looter shooters. The modern looter shooter exists in the way it does because of Borderlands, and I want it to be successful. I think Borderlands has always been a dope franchise. And been a very great concept, and it always has been like, it was one of those games where people literally were like, hey, play with friends or don't play the game, and it really pushed that, not just as a good game but an amazing game with friends. And if that was the only conversation we were having, I think it would be in a much better position. But as Alejandro brought up,
Well, actually, I want to ask real quick. Do we know anything about the staff of Borderlands 3, and if it's like the same people that
it is
didn't actually...
I
Gearbox.
imagine so.
I don't know how much of the same staff.
I mean, it has been almost a decade. I imagine some of those people have moved on to different, even if they're in the same company, they could be doing different projects because they're in a higher position. They're like, I don't want to work on a fourth, like,
Well,
Borderlands or whatever.
after
They probably worked
Battleborn.
on yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So
but I believe that I know that a lot of the main dudes, I believe, are still there because they were some of the people they brought out for news. But hitting on what you hit on, Alejandro, it happened to be the game, because of how popular it is, that brought back up and has really pushed to the forefront once again the Epic Store conversation and platform exclusivity. We kind of had this conversation previously when Metro Exodus moved from Steam over exclusively, at least early on, or for a year, to the Epic launcher. And especially just with Epic becoming a true competitor to Steam thanks to Fortnite. We are now in a world where this game, a game that people have been waiting on PC, will not be available on other platforms until early 2020. Now, with that said, we're talking that's a what? September. We'll go with 6 months. I always say give it till the next March when they say early blah blah blah. So like next March, April. So we're talking 6 months of having to wait for the game on other platforms. Now, people started review bombing the game on Steam, which Steam, I think I saw some place remove something like
they did
5,000 reviews because it's against their terms of service of people just straight up bombing. People were just intentionally bombing the game.
Right. Which is, it's like the game isn't even on, you bomb
That
it.
makes no sense. That's actually stupid.
So for me, getting into it, Metro kind of felt scummy because I was like, people already pre-ordered on Steam when it was, But with Borderlands 3, I believe they announced it only on Epic, so it wasn't like it was ever implied to be on Steam. I know the other games were on Steam, but it's like they never said it was going to be on Steam.
I think it was announced that it was a limited time on Epic.
No, it
and
is, but
then, yeah.
I'm just saying it wasn't like a Metro situation where people literally bought
What
the game
it
on
was,
Steam, and then they were like, "No, it's gonna be on Epic first."
Oh,
People
yeah,
were like that doesn't
where-
make sense.
yeah, people just had to. It felt more like Epic was, or Metro was, hey, like we'll pay you money for exclusivity for a little bit because it also will help our platform. And this feels more like the devs just wanted it on that platform. And
Also, can I
wanna
just
put
say
it there.
it's definitely more on Steam. One, just competition, which is good, by the way, because that means they'll probably think about rates. And two, for me, the way I see it is, this will. I mean, it's like the, it's not even an argument at this point, but it's like why people would prefer Xbox over PlayStation or vice versa. It's like, I like this thing that PlayStation is doing, but I have a lot of console exclusive IPs that I like Halo or whatever, and on PlayStation. And it's like Steam, you have. I mean, people make the joke of they can't count to 3, but that's kind of on them really at this point, is it not?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like, come back to us because that's what made us famous, like CS:GO and like Portal and stuff like things like that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the same thing. Like people, it's something to me that feels like very recurring. Because same thing kind of came up with Fortnite. Same thing came up with Steam. We're in an era where it really is more competition. And I remember we had this conversation, I think back when we got started with the podcast towards the start of the year, where we were saying like, hey, Epic is coming out with their store and it looks really good. And the stuff they're offering is actually lucrative enough to say, if I'm making a game, why don't I put it on that store over Steam? And Steam has just kind of been here for so long that they are used to sitting there. Now, let's flip this to the consumer perspective.
Well, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to something like this, when it comes to Borderlands 3, I find this to be less of a like an Xbox versus PlayStation argument, because like it's just software. You just literally download the free launcher, and it's like, all right, you got it. It's not that big of an issue. I feel like if you care enough about this game, then why not just buy it on Epic? Your friends can make a free account on Epic, and then you can all play it together.
It's more just like the fact that Steam has been the juggernaut for literally like over a decade at this point, that people just got used to it. That they're just they assume something they shouldn't have, and that's just.
I mean, it's one of Alejandro. To flip it, like I think it is a what's the word? It's like a fatigue thing. It's the same thing we were talking about back during the SSJ Lounge, of where all of a sudden we had to go to like 8 different sites if we wanted to watch all the anime. And it's like, why do I have to have Uplay Origin, Steam, Epic Launcher, GOG, like, and everybody's coming out with their own launcher, and I'm all of a sudden at a point where it's like,
that makes sense. No, that actually makes sense. I get you know.
But you have platforms that make sense, like GOG will pull from your Steam library and automatically give you any games that they have from your Steam library. So you don't necessarily have to use both. I think the big issue is that that's not going to happen, and going kind of to Shazz's analogy of the PlayStation Xbox, I think Steam recognizes Epic Store as a threat, and it is going to be what games can we get to
flex?
Because there was a game that was announced, and I only remember this because it was in the like announcement title, like, oh yeah, we announced the game, and yeah, it's gonna be on Steam, and I'm like,
Yakuza?
Yeah, Yakuza Kiwami 2 has already been confirmed to be on Steam. And it's kind of like...
That's because all the Yakuza games are already on Steam, so...
I think that's what's scaring me, though. Like, do y'all remember back, like, on E3, you're watching, right? You're looking for... Did your console's icon pop up on the end of that trailer screen?
Yeah.
Are we going to get to the point of...
Yeah.
E3 reveals, like, just waiting. You get hype, but you gotta pull it down.
You see the Epic Store launcher, and then you gotta see...
Because...
Okay.
And I guess for PC, the best example of how this could go bad is the Microsoft Store. We can play any Xbox game we want to on PC. How many of us are really playing Gears 4 and playing...
It's a weird situation because we keep saying that, I mean, it's true that video game consoles are getting closer to PCs, and they're also getting closer to each other in terms of specs and what they do. but there's still different, hardware
Yeah.
differences and in-house things that they do. But it's weird because with this Epic launcher stuff, like we said, it's just a free downloaded software. The platform is actually the same. It's just how you're getting it is different. It's literally like rolling up to a McDonald's. You're still getting the same burger you wanted from McDonald's. It's not like they're forcing you to eat at Burger King. It's just that you might not like the guy who's taking your orders. That's
See,
just how it kind of feels to me a little bit.
I agree. And as somebody that has it's really, I haven't had problems with the Microsoft Store.
Mhm.
There have been way worse issues documented about
Yeah.
the Microsoft Store, and I think that's the one thing that concerns people. It's like,
I think
hey,
it's fair, though.
I'm getting the same burger, but
But the
there's
how
shit
can
in the
you-
middle of the lobby.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. I'm not trying
Or
to
the
downplay it.
burger, like they just gave me the wrong burger. The
Right,
burger
I'm not
doesn't
trying to
work
downplay it because it's
horizontal.
from the same. It's literally from the same place or the
Yeah.
same thing that you would get anyway. It's just how the product is handled is different, which I totally get. You're used to how Steam is handled. Strix is used to the 4 or 5 a.m. guy through the drive-through at McDonald's at this point, versus the guy at noon. You're like, I don't know if I can trust this guy to make the order that I want.
I mean, yeah, for me, it ultimately just comes down to like, hey, Epic, I don't care what games you get. Don't care how you put it on there, what you put on your platform. I just want to know that if I'm going to play the game when it releases, I can pre-install it, and when the time hits, I can click play, and the game runs.
Mhm.
I don't want the game isn't working on our hard drive, and Epic's working to fix that. They've come out and talked about how they're making a lot of improvements to the Epic Store. I think that's people's concern though, is when you have big name titles that could end up on a platform that is trash.
Right. Where it's hindered by it. I understand. Yes.
But overall, I think Borderlands 3 will do pretty well. I'm scared because this is really
I think-
Gearbox has to land.
Yeah.
Land this.
I think the better analogy would be something like YouTube. We're so used to this thing for so long, even though it has so many problems that we criticize, that when something new pops up and that thing gets something exclusive that we like, and we're like, we can't give it a chance, right? Like it's hard for people to give it a chance after you've known something for literally like over a decade.
Remember VidMe?
But stuff like that. But that's what I mean, though. It's like for better or for worse. It's like I know people can get burned out on that because there's been multiple online stores on PC that people hate, like Uplay and Origin. And people like I get it because I've used those and they suck. But
I would say they sucked at one time. Like Uplay and Origin, respectively, have taken huge strides at this point.
I think it's harder because they're more a publisher launcher versus a actual all games launcher. Because Origin is just EA games, Uplay is just Ubisoft. You know what I mean? Like that's.
I think I kind of look at Epic in that respect. I think if you don't make your game based off of Unreal, which like
that's like
that's a huge portion of the market. If you aren't like that, then the only thing else you're targeting is the player base, which, okay, Fortnite still is the biggest game to exist right now. So there are a lot of lucrative reasons, but I don't think if I were to drop like 3 major reasons why people don't like the Epic Store. 1, they don't trust Epic. They don't like Fortnite. They don't like how they handle Fortnite, any of that. 2, convenience is the obvious one. Like, hey, I would like to be able to get on my computer and click a button and play my game. I don't want to buy this game on Epic Store, so then I have to click on it to... Okay, if you're playing the Division 2, you go on Epic Store, you click play, it opens up the Uplay launcher that then clicks play, that then starts the game, and now you have a friends list within a friends list on the... Like, no. It's becoming a competition, whereas hopefully it just breeds decent competition.
I think I just find it funny because literally what Epic is doing is literally the Steam tactic, the Valve tactic.
Yeah.
Which is,
you want our game?
People really like this one game, insert Counter-Strike or Half-Life. And people back, I remember early, back in the day when I was first getting into the internet, people fucking hated Steam. They were like, oh my god, I gotta download this stupid thing for one game that I like. But it's like, all right, but you like it though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll stick around just for this game. But then it blew up. People can't live without it anymore. Same thing. I'm not saying the same thing will happen to Epic, but why would you, if you have something like Fortnite, which is literally the biggest game that's like in main media right now, why would you not be like, okay, we already make video games. We literally help other companies make video games with our software. People license our engine for
and
their games.
they don't have to. They don't
world
have to
renowned.
pay.
Yeah.
And if you put it on their store, there are benefits of like not having to pay certain fees that go along with that.
To me, it just makes sense to like. I think they're in a better position than when Valve first started out, which is like Strix said, we make games. We have the biggest game out there right now. We help other people make games and people use our engine. Maybe we should kind of do our thing because we have enough threads going on that we can be safe. Because that's
because
a lot of things that they're doing.
Like as somebody that's been using the Epic launcher, it's gotten a lot better in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like again, this wasn't a complaint when it was. I mean, it was all Epic properties at the time. But the Paragons and then Fortnite blew up, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're opening a store, and it helps out a lot of people. And it's once games, I think people are distrusting of the company most of all. I think that is the big thing. People do not trust Epic, and that is the major issue. If I was going to point to, well, this is why people don't want to.
I think that's fair, though. I think that's fair about being distrusting of a company, but I don't blame them for making this move. It's. If I can see how smart it is, then I think it's pretty smart. You know what I mean?
But my games.
My games, though. Yeah. I totally agree with what you're saying. I know it's super hard or like to trust. I mean, probably shouldn't trust a company in general anyway, because at the end of the day, they were just about making money, which is fine. Again, making money in and of itself isn't a bad thing, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that idea. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, like even Mortal Kombat 11's using Unreal.
Oh no, like Unreal is still like I think it like
that's how flexible it is, by the way. Two different fighting games, but Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 uses Unreal, and so does Mortal Kombat 11. And you can't get further than like those visual styles almost. Like that's crazy. Like one's full on anime and the one's like full on realistic.
Like yeah, Epic is 100% a thing of the Unreal Engine is how much do you know about it and how much deeper you're going to dive into it. Because when you really get down to you can make anything look any way you want it to. I can't find, there used to be data, but it's something like they have one of the most significant market shares of an engine in video games.
You want to talk about world-renowned engines? Unreal has to be like free number one. There's like the Fox engine and all these other engines back. Like right now, one of my favorite engines is the RE engine that they used for Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Looks great.
I think the only issue I have with that engine is the faces.
I mean, that's just, I feel like, I think it worked a lot better in Resident Evil versus like Devil May Cry, but I think that's just because Resident Evil has like
a more realistic thing.
Well, that and they've always done different. Like the faces for each character aren't consistent at all between games. Like they look completely different after each game. So,
look, I don't look. No, I can't say that because if anybody looks at any of my pictures, I would look at the same.
Look at Chris in Resident Evil 7 compared to Chris in Resident Evil 4 or 5.
Man, my man, look, he just gave up the steroids.
I just gained 200 pounds of natural muscle, guys. Please understand. He punched a boulder, bro.
That's still the best.
But yes, yeah, Unreal has to be like free, like quadruple S tier as far as like engines go.
100%. Because every time they bring out a new version of the engine, it's immediate like adoption.
People have used it for fighting games, racing games, puzzle games, mobile games. Like it's super flexible.
Yeah.
I feel like people take classes just for Unreal Engine at this point.
Oh yeah, look, so if you're building games nowadays, I would say Unreal is one of those engines because it is available to anybody to use and play around with.
But guys, what about Unity?
Unity's fine as well.
No, Unity's fine. Unity gets a bad rap, but I think Unity's perfectly fine.
I remember when Unity was the most hated engine of all time.
People were just being
still
stupid.
to a degree.
Unity
is like I think people just don't like games and they're like, what was it built on? Unity? Unity's trash.
I think because of how accessible it is, that's why it gets a hate. Because you have an infinitely more amount of games that are bad when something is free to use to make a video game versus something you need to actually license out to make.
Yeah.
like if it's free, you can try. Like
But
I can make,
CryEngine, Shaz,
like-
they're not doesn't look as good as CryEngine. There's some beautiful like any engines are just tools. It's about the user that matters what the end product is.
Wasn't it either CryEngine or Frostbite that I think developers were saying, oh yeah, this engine's almost like impossible to work with. This shit's really hard to use.
I can't remember which one, but I know what you're talking
It
about.
could be
think it was Frostbite.
CryEngine is weird.
That's the Crisis engine, and
No, I know.
Yeah,
It's just.
I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be surprised me if it was.
There's
Cry.
not a lot. I don't remember a lot of. I feel like
There's been a few games, and they always look gorgeous.
they
Mhm.
just aren't the best games, unfortunately.
But like going into this, Borderlands 3,
Mhm.
I think it falls in lines with all the other Borderlands games. Same thing we said about 2. If you got friends to play it with, get it. If you don't, watch a stream of 4 people playing it together that are entertaining. Like, I
Not
feel
us.
wow.
Also, Borderlands 3 is using Unreal because no surprise.
But now that we've talked about something new, something that's kind of that has history, but is definitely dropping a new iteration of the thing. Let's go to another one which falls right in line with our childhoods. We all cried.
Evo?
We all laughed. No, we're not talking about Evo yet. I'm not showing the trailer because fuck copyright. We might get a little bit of it here.
You can edit it.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like
Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back.
He always striking
got
back.
got a new trailer, the CGI version.
You get to see the characters now.
I don't think I will ever like this as much as the original.
I
And
don't
that
think
is
I will like
that
it
is
as
a
much either.
personal.
God, that's
Not a fan of CGI. Mew looks dope though. I'm not gonna even play like
No,
Mew.
The Pokemon look
we
dope.
we said this before when we first saw the trailer. The Pokemon and the environment looks great. The people look like
Terrifying.
It's weird. They look weird.
Like this looks sick.
Dude, Mew looks brolic as fuck. Mewtwo
My man's collarbone structure is like marvelous.
Mewtwo looks swole
Ooh.
for no reason, and he thicky too.
I wonder how much spoilers they're gonna show actually in the trailer as well.
Is this spoilers?
Ash
Like,
looks
it's-
that Ash is a whole different like person.
Don't worry. Stop. We're not gonna talk about it.
Not Ash. Stop smiling.
Oh God. The
the-
people, like, we're not gonna talk about the people. Just-
I don't mind it actually. It's not something I'm used to, but it's not bad.
I think for me,
Okay,
it's just
okay. Look,
the way like their like mouths look. For me, it's actually the mouths. I think it's really the mouths. It looks awkward.
yeah.
It looks weird.
Because it's trying to capture the original art style.
No, I totally look. The
Yeah.
face and everything is actually not that bad, but the mouth is.
I feel
looks
like
unnatural.
if they went for the Sun and Moon art style in terms of turning into CG, I feel like it would have worked a bit better. There's more flexibility with that art style.
Yeah, but that wouldn't work because that.
Also,
was
I would
in the
like to
movie as
clarify.
well, so.
Anime art styles like this in CG, the eyes are terrifying. The eyes make up
It
60% of
It
their face.
depends.
I think I can get it. I think I can give it to Pokemon just because it's Pokemon, and not the people I can understand, but Pokemon themselves are just like creatures. So I'm like, those things don't exist. But I know what Strix is saying. When you
Like
know what
Miss,
a person,
like I'm right now like looking at Misty.
yeah,
Just
Misty looks cute. What?
I'm trying to find.
those eyes are looking into your very
don't- I-
being.
I don't
think
see the issue. so-
100% though.
Why
I
does
think-
Ash have a lazy eye?
Yeah, he does. Those. Yo, the animator kind of.
And then Brock on the other side, like I guess it's the context of having them next to Brock, which is the big thing to me as well. Is like
Yeah.
you see the.
I have no problem with ultra realistic, but I think they went so far without trying to like do more features that were anime. Like the eyes, as far as like the faces go, like the eyes are really the only anime thing, and I think that's what's setting it like weirding you out. Honestly, like if they had more like distinct, like a layer on top that was animated or something to like.
But I
Make
feel
it
like
believe-
rounded eyes wouldn't work either because
Yeah.
I don't see the rounded eyes working with that.
Dude, I don't want to see that mouth. I'm not gonna defend that mouth.
It doesn't bother me. It
The
honestly
mouth
doesn't
is
bother me.
whack. The mouth on the
It
camera. Look, the Pokemon look great. Pokemon look
Yo,
amazing.
Mew looks amazing.
Mewtwo looks brolic for no reason. I love the clone Charizard, Venusaur, and like Blastoise.
Also, chat, I don't feel particularly bad about showing you anything from. If you have not seen this movie,
It's like 20. It's older than most of y'all. Okay,
damn.
I think it's older than Alejandro.
It is. No, wait.
So, can I
I
have
will
a
check
question?
right now.
Another question.
What's up?
Did they really just make the clone Pikachu Sparky? I'm looking at the ears.
Mm-hmm.
Did they really
yeah.
just like?
Oh yeah, that is true. That's a nice little detail.
Like because I'm pretty like normal Pikachu definitely doesn't have the.
No.
I just checked. It's not older than me. It came out in 2000, so almost 2 decades old now.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about that.
Actually, in the original, I'm looking at the picture of the original. The original had the clone had the different.
It's just
spikes
one of
on it.
those things. Yeah, I feel like it's
That's
one of
super
the.
smart.
But
That's
the other thing is they were also just a different color in general. Like they colored them different.
Yeah.
Which
I
was
think so,
it?
too.
Not really. No.
I feel like it wasn't it the, like well, maybe not.
It was bare. The color difference was barely, if
It's-
not noticeable
yeah, it's
at all.
super minor.
Maybe
I
I'm just-
rewatched the movie literally recently, dog.
I'm
Sorry.
trying to. I can remember distinctly.
I could check the clip right now. So
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. But that's again, my thing is because we've had
Pikachu 2. Oh my God! Is
I mean,
this the canon name?
yeah, Pikachu. People don't realize like Guilty Gear Rev 2. Guilty Gear Rev 2 is fully
same
CG.
colors. I just checked. Same colors.
Maybe I just have really good eyes, or my TV was broken. No, I still will say for a fact, like they looked, coloring was different.
I could send you a clip.
I think for Strix, I totally get where he's coming from though. I think it's one thing if when you have an established style and then turn it CG versus it's a CG original because it doesn't look weird because then they can just do whatever. But like Guilty Gear Xrd has, I mean that's an anime game, but it's in 3D, but they have a like layer on top that's just like the anime like drawing style on top. You know what I mean?
Also, Dragon Quest, that movie, it didn't take the Akira Toriyama art styles and it decided to make its own kind of art style, so it automatically
Also,
works.
the Dragon Quest movie that's coming out, which is fully CG and anime. Yeah, like you said, is just like it's. Yeah, I think unfortunately because it's really because they're also kids. I think because if they were older people, you could get away with like smaller eyes, like Ash has now. Ash has way out smaller eyes now than when he used to. Looking at Sun and Moon and like X, you can look at the XY anime design. And he's like got smaller eyes and yeah. If they were just like adults, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But because they're kids, you can only do so much with their proportions without having like a literal JoJo Stardust Crusaders who's like, I'm 16 years old. Okay, but then why are you 6'5" and like 300 pounds though, and like have a chest bigger than most people's like entire body? Like,
hey, don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. I'm happy that the movie's coming out. It gives another generation a chance to see the movie.
Why not? Why not? Also, it just goes to show Pokemon has a lot of money because they could have just re-released the old one. They were like, "Nah, we're gonna remake it from scratch in
CG." Yeah,
in CG.
Oh,
in a high quality CG.
By the way, I figured out what it was, Alejandro.
What?
The main Pokemon from it have dark spots on them. If you look at Charizard, Venusaur, and like,
no, I know about the dark spots, but the actual coloration is the same.
I don't fucking remember the color ain't the same. They got dark spots.
It's the same color.
A pure white dog and a spotted dog are not the same color. All right, cool. I'm gonna stick with it. A Dalmatian and a white dog are not the same color.
Okay, man. All right.
All right.
Look, the CG doesn't look terrifying, so it might be a watch. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Alejandro,
what's up?
It's on you. So,
all right. Well,
we're gonna kick it on over to the anime correspondent on this one while I get this loaded up.
Yeah, I did my best for the other ones.
I mean,
I'm out. I'm dry.
I mean, have you seen Your Name?
No.
You haven't.
No.
Wow, I actually thought you saw it. So, for anyone who has seen the movie Your Name, or 5 centimeters per second, or a bunch of other of his movies, Makoto Shinkai, director,
Don't block our fucking video, you bitch. All right, go ahead.
he hasn't hit memory yet, so hopefully he won't hit us. But Makoto Shinkai, very prolific director, made the highest grossing anime movie ever, Your Name, making a new movie called Weathering with You. It looks like it's going to be another romance movie, and it looks like it's going to go beyond the boundaries of 2D animation again, so
it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Looks so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And I hate it. Nah, like shit does not have a right to be this good looking.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really doesn't.
It's
like,
nah, bro. That's someone who's just flexing at this point.
100%.
This is most definitely like the flex. Oh my fuck, that animation when she was falling. Oh my god. My eyes couldn't keep up for like half a second. I was like, yo, that was so buttery.
No, like my entire issue is like my man makes Your Name and everybody's like, "Dope, man, you the highest grossing of all time. It looks amazing. You're blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, so y'all saying I can't do it again?" Nobody said that.
No. The thing is, look up the trailer for Garden of Words, I think.
Yeah,
if you want to see, so this I like this because he's already done a movie with a whole rain motif going on with it. It's called Garden of Words. If you guys haven't seen that movie, definitely check it out. But I really like it. It seems like this one's having a very very interesting, more fantasy like aesthetic to it. I really am interested to see how this turns out. Your Name was still not the best movie of 2016, by the way. That was a silent voice. Fuck you. You can fight me. But
I'll hate Alejandro Pupo.
See,
Pupo underscore.
Here's the thing. 26. Like Your Name was good. It was great. Your Name didn't make me cry like a silent voice did.
You say
that movie was great.
All I'm doing is I don't want the anime avies in my fucking mentions, dog. I don't want the anime avies in my mentions. I'm not fucking with it. We're good.
Oh, Steph, it wasn't a joke.
Yeah, I wish I was so talented that when I was petty that I could make like amazing work and people would go,
yeah,
bro, that's godlike, and I'm like, oh, you thought that was godlike? Fuck around. Don't.
Nah, I love that. Like it to me, this feels like literally like he put it out and then people are like, yo, dog, that's amazing. Y'all said that shit. Y'all said that was shit. Like nobody said that. Like chill. Like it's good.
I wish I was so good at something like Makoto Shinkai or so world renowned like fucking Toriyama, where whatever they say the studio says yes. People fucking shitted on Broly, and he's like, "You think I can't run the character back after 30 years? Bet fucking money right now. I won't fucking run him back right fucking now. Bet." That shit ass American live action Dragon Ball movie. That's not gonna be he literally only made Super because he said I don't want Dragon Ball Evolution being the last thing people think about Dragon Ball. I strive to be that petty. Like, god damn it, dude. That's so good. I fucking wish I had that much clout. That's clout.
Nah, Makoto Shinkai is definitely. I think he's gotten to the point where he's definitely world renowned. Like Mamoru Hosoda and like Miyazaki.
Yeah,
I think by this point, when you see those three directors, you know it's gonna definitely do good.
Oh, like it's
yeah,
dog. Like I don't even think. I think to me, like the easiest way I can explain it is stuff like that is also part of the anime isn't for kids stuff. Like it's not just about being dark. It's not just about. It's like when you look at the Pokemon art style, and oh yeah, anime is for kids, and then somebody shows you that, you're like, oh wait, that's like actual moving art.
By the way, yeah. I never liked the argument that people made. I mean, I don't like people saying anime is children's stuff only to begin with, but I hate the like defense like for it as well, where people like, see, you look at this and it's for kids, and it's like you realize same thing for cartoons. Right? Cartoons originally really weren't for kids.
Look.
It was used for like propaganda and adult stuff, but I mean,
I honestly don't like like one of the like arguments, the counter arguments. Oh, anime is not for. I really don't like when people bring up like the more edgy, bloody shows. It's like
Well, because anime isn't really. I mean, it's not it's not a genre. It's the actual medium itself, right? That's like saying movies are for kids. It's like that doesn't make any sense.
Anime is animation.
But
it's called cartoons.
you gotta recognize that like these
guys,
are
when you go to Japan, Shrek is technically an anime. It's all
this. But what I'm saying is like it's a ignorance thing that the statement stems from.
Yeah.
In the same way that like all high fantasy is not Lord of the Rings, all sci-fi is not Doom or Star Wars or Matrix,
Star Trek. Yeah.
It's this idea of like, oh yeah, sci-fi is about spaceships, and like when you take any broad category and try to sum up everything,
yeah. For me, again,
it becomes a problem.
It's just so ignorant to like dismiss an entire like medium. It's like it's not even an argument to be had or discussion. It's just what are you doing, dude? Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
And I also think that that's a U.S. way of thinking, because the idea is that we might look like what. I mean, the easiest thing is anime. What the East determines is for kids. A lot of people in the West would be like, "Wait, that's supposed to be a kid show?"
Yeah, like Dragon Ball Z is technically a kid show in Japan, but when it came over here to America, that shit was censored to high hell.
And that's what I'm saying is like, it's one of those things that I look at it and say like, hey, when somebody tries to hit you with the like, the anime is for kids, dog. And then they will see tame anime. They won't even need to see like I joke all the time about saying like, hey, yeah, show them Berserk. You don't need to show somebody Berserk for somebody to understand it. Like
you just could show them one of the kids shows.
Like Goku literally dies in like the first episode of Dragon Ball Z or second episode.
I mean, he gets a hole blown in his fucking chest
against like Raditz. It's literally the second episode.
Naruto is one of the more childish shows out there, and there's literally people getting impaled
on Cartoon
and
Network.
ripped open.
But that's what I'm getting at. It's like it goes back to comics. It goes back to everything. I think here in the U.S. especially, where it's like this thing is for kids, and then they see like what the fuck, and it's like it's about your intention. If you want to make a happy-go-lucky for kids, even happy, My Hero. You start seeing fingers broken and barely hanging on, and a completely like at a certain point,
the whole first season, and like
I look at somebody, I'm like, if that's your idea of like, hey,
a kid show.
my child should be looking at a mangled arm, and it's not like he's doing something like I'm cutting up my arm. It's like I'm doing this heroic thing, but like
I have to do this in the process.
We're like his whole thing is just destroyed. To me, just like it's recognizing the medium has a little bit more. But with that said, I'm gonna need him to stop drawing pretty shit.
Nah.
I find it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I wanted to come out with like one's drawings, like be like, this is what I do in my spare time, and it looks like complete garbage. And people are like, wait, how did you go from this to this?
Like, here's the thing,
just to mess with people.
That's why I wanna be so honest, right? Like, with people that are really good, right? I want them to do, and I'm gonna make the comparison to Soma because I think a lot of people it's widespread enough that people understand it. It's the like I want him to intentionally try to make something bad, like make it look bad, and people will still be like, "Fuck, he did a good job." Yeah. That looks horrible, but in like the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like he just comes up like what is Uzumaki and shit like that, where you're like, okay, I don't need these visuals. I don't need any of this.
Ito.
Yeah. Like where he can make something that it's not meant to be pleasant to the eye. It's not meant to be pleasant to your soul. You just have to look at it.
Shout out to Junji Ito becoming more and more famous recently. Like I'm really glad to the fact that he's getting. Also, I just want to bring up Makoto Shinkai because there was like behind the scenes for Your Name, and one of the big things with his movies is lighting. His lighting is pretty much prolific by this point when it comes to anime movies. He will literally go in and go into the editors and tell the painters, all right, let that light streaks there. He will just intensify the lighting. It's like the littlest things that you might not even notice. It's like he's always on that, and it's kind of crazy.
But I think that's the sign of like somebody that really is honed their craft that long, like where it's the idea of like you've done this so many times that like your bare minimum is a 98%. Like writing, like the art, the depth, the coloring, like all that stuff is on point to where he's literally like, look, all right, I'm adding specific lighting streaks so that like this tone is given exactly at this frame.
This man's first movie with no budget, where the only voices that he had was him and his wife. His first movie, literally shot on most of the anime that came out the year it came out.
Yeah, but that's what I mean when I say like those are just people that, and I don't like to use the word genius so much as just like that have honed their skills.
They
like,
worked hard.
They have honed their skills to a point where that is what the result is.
Yeah, I never want to take away
what's the name of his first movie?
Hard work people put in.
His first movie?
I can just look it up.
Voices in the Distance or something?
I can look it up. Cause I just
These names, bro. Also, can we just say one thing?
because
he has naming sense for these movies, though.
no, it's
so good. But
the
it's like,
world
bro,
the world being closed.
Was it that?
Jeez, that's such a Japanese name. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
that's great. I love it.
What else did you expect, honestly?
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
I think what's also great is that he actually takes years in between his movies. Is he actually gives it enough time? There was 3 years between Your Name and the Garden of Words, and there was 3 years between this and Your Name. So
I couldn't do this if I spent my whole life trying to do it.
You see, Other Worlds. This came out in '98. This came out in '98. We'll throw this up for people to
Jesus fuck
get an idea of. This is some of his work from 2 decades plus ago. His second thing that is listed on his release. And
gross.
Like
gross.
This is the type of thing that I think, like, you could release today and people probably wouldn't have any problems at all with. Like,
this man, and this is the big thing. He's also an animator. He's not just a director. He's not just someone. He's an animator. He works on storyboards. He works on backgrounds. He works on literally everything. He knows what he's doing.
Bro, it's like that one game that we grew up as a kid that was like, I mean, we grew up with like a lot of games coming out, but it was like that one game a year that just shat on every other game that released from like that year and the like couple years after that. This is this movie, right? It's like, how the hell do you have Resident Evil 4 come out before like the first Call of Duty? Like, it doesn't even have a chance at being good compared to what you just released.
Yeah.
Like, god damn, bro.
It's this almost makes me want to go through and watch all of his movies just to see. Like, movie
a few of them are hit or miss, but the main best ones that you should watch are Garden of Words, 5 centimeters per second.
5 centimeters per second is. I've seen that and Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
I haven't seen that actually.
Those are the two of his that I've seen.
I mean, those are the classics for sure. As far as like people getting into his work, that's definitely like his like go-to.
He it's insane. With like, to give you an idea, chat. He's directed, he's done a lot of writing, producing, animating, storyboarding, background art, theme song lyrics, design. Like, he is through and through
an artist.
Yeah.
Like it to me says it's about knowing and bringing your vision to life, where you end up learning everything because it just further allows you to take whatever you're trying to build and build upon it and really make it your art. It's so good. But he is one of the few people that I don't know if I've seen something of his where I could ever be like, even if I don't necessarily like the premise, like the what he does is so good. He's amazing at what he does. Makoto Shinkai, Weathering with You. Do we have a release date or no? Is it just kind of?
I think this was just a teaser trailer that came out recently, so
keep that in mind. This is just like, hey yo, like I just want y'all to like, see what I might be working on in the future. Just take a quick look at
with your name being as successful as it was, I definitely bet that this is gonna get like
100%. I think
around the time
when your side work, when your side main is still better than most people's mains in a fighting game.
no, it's Chaz. It's like, hey, what have you done? Oh, I've just won a bunch of shit. Oh, okay. So like, I'm gonna start playing this game. Wait, what? Why are you this good?
Strix Tokido showing off Ken Tech when his Akuma's undefeatable already. It's like, can you not? You already have an Akuma that's like godlike. What are you doing with the Ken? Who gave you the right to shit on other people with a character that's not your main?
It's
like,
so
like that's how it feels, right? But I can't be mad at that because they're just so good. But it's like, bro, you can't pick your main. People already know they're gonna lose when they go up against you. Just please pick. If I lost to him using his Ken, I'd feel disrespected. Like,
well, that's
you didn't even have to pull
nah,
out
that was the player. That ain't the character. That's just the player beating your whole ass. You just look at him like, you ain't got to do me like that, bro.
Like, can you just beat me with your main? Just 2-0 me with the main, bro. I know I can't.
Nah, cause like that's the worst part. Like,
at noon.
You know, when my man come in and be like, all right, cool, like, hey, so like, what's your best matchup? Like, he asks you and then beats you and just looks at you like
disrespectful. He will fight you with a character that has a 1-9 matchup.
and he'll 10-0 you, and you'll just be looking at you like, but it's 1-9. Like,
you know what's crazy though?
When Shaz uses anyone that's not Rashid.
You know what? Can you not? That's like, if Tokido is Makoto Shinkai, then Daigo's fucking Ghibli, because halfway through you're like, okay, Tokido can do this, and then he just shits.
Nah, then real quick he'd be like, yeah, Makoto Shinkai, that dude, and Ghibli's like, hey, yo, you want to see people lose your shit worldwide about your shit? Let me just drop something real quick.
Let me just pull up 50 years of animation experience on your face real quick. Let me just put my dick on the tip.
And some people might be like, but like Tokido, this is all Street Fighter 5 shit. Tokido plays the game perfectly. He don't give a fuck. He's just gonna beat your ass.
Like, he got him like to game 5, and then Daigo was like, the game lean chair meme, dude. It was a rap, dog.
I just want to say that, remember, Your Name is the highest grossing anime movie and his first anime movie to go out of Japan.
And I want to make this point to you, Alejandro.
So
Tokido is a god at Street Fighter.
Tokido is the number one player in
Street
Fighter.
He's still lost to Daigo. I will make this point to you, anybody that says anything to me. In Street Fighter 5, there is not a better player of that game than Tokido.
See,
now, saying that, when it comes to fighting games, you don't fuck with the fucking beast. You don't.
Alejandro, the numbers, those are factual, but it doesn't matter, because like what Tokido said, it doesn't matter if I'm number one. To me, you're the god. Yeah. You're the dude that inspired me to do what this.
And that's a lot of what, if you talk, because people always talk about how Shinkai does really appreciate and have a lot of respect for Miyazaki.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of those things of like I'm dope, but I'm only dope because like I studied you.
Right.
It's the idea of like when people talk about basketball to all the sports people out there, like, oh yeah, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. So when Kobe Bryant came around, who did he model his game after?
Right.
Like, you can make the argument that at some point the student supersedes, and I think you have a great point, Alejandro. What I will make an argument to you is some of them Ghibli movies, if they were released for the first time in this climate,
you're not wrong.
Godlike.
Like I feel like if Spirited Away came out this year, it would have done way better.
Spirited Away was like the most it's like the best grossing.
It's the highest grossing Ghibli movie.
Yeah, like,
and it's one of those things that I think
for like 20 years ago.
You can look at Your Name and look at like how successful it is directly because people like Miyazaki got people like Disney on board to release that shit in the U.S. so long ago that it became more of a like all of us now are like, yo, did
also
you see Your Name?
Very popular actors and voice actors.
Like it's
stuff, so.
Yeah, it's.
I always love that level of respect, right? Because the number one guy that's like super popular, objectively, literally the best, won multiple awards, is like, I love this, and I'm glad that I'm being recognized as such. But it doesn't really mean anything till I beat what I consider my god, like the best,
so
the
good,
guy who taught me.
It's
like
so
it's so anime, but it's so fucking true. Same thing that happened with Tokido, bro. He literally started crying at like game 9, and my heart was fucking broken.
Mm-hmm.
The man who's number one at Street Fighter 5 One Evo shits on people consistently. Game 9 wasn't even close. It was 10-5.
Yeah, like
Just
literally, there's so many things where like
that was so anime.
I think people get this idea of, and this is like complete tangent at this point, but it's so good. People get the idea of like what a master or what like somebody that is that great at their craft is, but 9 times out of 10, it's and this goes, mastery is never just about like how like your highest high. It's about consistency. Like if this comes out, Alejandro, and it's does as well as your name,
Yeah.
if he does this like 1 or 2 more times, I think we start having a conversation of like, okay, like he's done. If this wasn't like I don't even want to call it a one-off. This wasn't just like he's really talented. This is he's continuing to improve.
Concerned, yeah.
He understands
Yeah.
creating animated movies to such a level that it is completely recognized by every.
Mm-hmm.
I just love this type of storyline as far as like wrestling fans like go, because it's like it's so anime too, right? Because it's like I've been consistent. I've been working hard. I know all the matchups. I know the frame data. I've got the best stick. I've got multiple sponsors backing me up. I can get all the rest in the world. And the guy who I believe is a god usually doesn't even place in top 15 sometimes. He just gets bodied in pools and is like, okay, cool, I'm out. See you guys later. But anybody in that like the community knows that dude is the best. And it's like,
But it's the trope. Like we talk about the FGC, Shaz, because we love it. But like anybody that does not understand what we're talking about, Daigo is the Asian dude in all black at Red Bull that's asleep like 90% of the time. And like he'll be like wake up and go to his match, beat somebody's ass, and be like, all right, cool. Wake me up on the next one.
frame.
Like
that's what he fucking does, right?
yeah, like 100%. Chaz, like for those that, all right, I'm gonna do this and then we can move on because otherwise we'd be lost here. 100%, I can see it on Alejandro's face. For those that don't get what we're talking about, Tokido, Daigo were supposed to play 1st to 10. They had a month essentially to train up. It comes down, the event happens. Tokido takes an early lead, like 4-1 or some shit, wins his 5th game, and then Daigo basically turns it on. It's like, okay, cool.
Download complete.
10-5.
Understand.
Done. Now, with that said, when it comes out, like, well, how did Daigo prepare for it? Daigo went and found an Akuma player and trained him to play like Tokido so that he could train to beat. So, like, dog trained the dude to beat his ass. It is amazing.
When fucking Goku takes you to the hyperbolic time chamber to fucking fight like Vegeta.
So that when he steps out against Vegeta, he's like, Doug, that was like week 2. I had my man doing that week 2.
When Goku takes you to fight like fucking Vegeta and goes, I got it now. When you casually raise up somebody to be a fucking god in a month.
It is like, Daigo is terrifying. Like, he is the old dude that you just walk by every day and don't realize he could kill you in a second.
It's the pressure. You walk by him and it's the anime pressure.
Strix, Master Roshi goes, damn, I never got hit by Kamehameha before. Yo, let me teach you Kamehameha real quick. I want to see what it feels like to get hit by it real quick. Just real quick. Just for the one time. Like, bro, what?
And Alejandro hit it exactly. Like, season 1 is coming, like, has just ended. The big bad was beaten. And then it's like, oh, yeah, this was my master. And like the main character's like, your master? He looks like a fucking bum. And then the pressure lines just show up. And just that look on the face of like, oh my fucking god.
What was that dude's name from Bleach? The one with the hair? We were just talking about him. The main antagonist for like the first.
Aizen.
When Aizen went to town.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then
like
everything was like.
When you we had a whole conversation.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew like Tokido as a fucking friend. I know there's a real chance he just could have called me up like, yo, Shaz, I know you don't play, or Daigo as a friend. Like, yo, I know you don't play Akuma, but like I'm playing Tokido in a month. Like, can we like train? And it's like I would have the world's like second best Akuma, just because my friend wanted to play against fucking Tokido. Like,
Dog.
God damn it! Could you
It's-
imagine? It's like, could you imagine?
No,
the
that's
conversation?
that to me is just
Yo,
like
how come
that's-
Akuma's so good? Oh, Daigo
like
trained
Alejandro.
me.
Like imagine somebody just walks up
Oh,
to
yeah.
you and it's like, so like you're like, hey, I want to do this thing, and they're like, all right, cool. You know, I'm bad at this, but let me teach you how to draw the fucking Mona Lisa perfectly from memory. Got it? All right, cool. Now we can do what you actually wanted to do. And you're just looking at him like, how the fuck you just... It was a month. How you download somebody by not even playing them?
Like, how did you get the patch notes before they were made? That's how the fuck what I want to know. How did you know the
It's-
frame data before they were updated?
And Chaz is not joking when, like, Tokido cried. Because at that, like, this 100, like, it was that much of a pressure of, like, dog, like, I put my all into this, and this is how it, like, on some anime shit, like, I did my best, and I was nowhere near close.
It was anime. The guy who's #1 at Street Fighter, consistently getting 1 or 2 only for like 20. We can look at the his
Last year he
It was
placed
like 1 or 2,
below. He placed below first or second 5 out of like 20 tournaments, maybe, and he placed out of top 10 once.
Yeah,
or
he's
top
mad
7.
consistent, and he's like, I'm literally on top of the world. I'm on the summit, and then Daigo comes in from literally
Descend from the heavens.
He's
just
right.
like
He's
and
right.
literally said, "You don't know
Mhm.
frame data,
Yep.
my guy. You don't
He's
know
right
yet."
at-
after you beat the Elite Four and you're like, I'm the best. Hey yo, come to my mountain right quick.
He fucking showed up with his fucking level 80 Pokemon and said, "Go fuck yourself." You beat the Elite Four means fucking nothing to me. Good luck. I'm motherfucking red, bitch. Get shitted on. I have the world's best Pikachu. Fuck him.
No, and like that to me is like that's the type of shit.
He's on point, dog.
So like dog, it's
My heart-
amazing.
My
It
heart
is
don't watch that.
amazing.
Please, if you have time, please watch Daigo versus Tokido 1st to 10.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking. I
is.
told you the results already, but you can start to see. And by the way, Daigo's expressions don't change. He looks like he's perpetually high, which is impossible. 'cause
he's
Japanese.
either half asleep or perpetually. Like my dude's like literally what last year at Capcom Cup, he came in like, yeah, I didn't sleep last night. Like, dog, you look more rested than you normally do.
How? Okay,
Fuck
can
you.
we? Okay, before we move on, how does the guy who's so you're good when you take a sip of a drink and you forgot your sponsor, turn it around, sip it, put it on the table, and they go, "I'm ready." to play now." Sorry.
Nah,
sorry about
Shaz, nah, my man got up in between us, like in between games, ran over to the mini fridge, popped it,
Disrespectful.
sipped it, set it down. Wait, hold up.
Disrespectful.
And you just looking at him like, the fuck did
Wasn't
you
it-
just do in
what-
our game?
Wasn't it against Punk? He was like,
It was against Smug, because Smug just
Smug.
sitting over there, just like, what?
it was.
Did he just flex on me that badly? He got up and got a Red Bull in the middle of the. And he did a product. My man did an ad in the middle of a match.
And you know it was an ad because he literally just took a sip and then put it down. He didn't even
And
chug.
then made sure he turned the can to look directly at the camera like, yeah.
And he smiled too. That was one of the few times he actually smiled. But it was like frame 2 and then it went away.
For anybody out there, if you don't care about fighting games, get into the FGC just for the lore. Just for seeing all these it is the best thing.
Watch Evo highlights. Just do it.
Seriously.
Just do it.
Watch tournament highlights and you'll want to watch fighting games.
Evo highlights were the reason I got into fighting.
And
games.
this all
It's
came up
so
because
good.
of moment 37. All because of moment 37.
Disrespectful. One of the most
But-
disrespectful
all right.
clips, by the way.
All right, so because we do have we did tangents are real. So we're talking now about another movie trailer. For
Remember
funnily
how
enough,
you said-
for what was originally a Ghibli worked on
Speaking of-
game.
Yeah.
That people
Well,
always
the second game wasn't Ghibli.
and people always people attribute it to Ghibli style. But Nino Kuni, the movie got a trailer. I actually hadn't heard about the movie. Oh god, it's Warner Bros. I'm getting banned. Whatever, I don't care.
No.
Oh.
So this is actually made by Oriental Light and Magic, the studio
Mm.
behind Pokemon. So
Oh,
Yikes.
No, I shouldn't laugh. I thought they were gonna get hit by the other bus. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Yo,
The Okie.
you dodged one bus to get hit by the second one. Nah.
So this is actually interesting because it's following its own original story. It's not following the story of the first one. It's not following the story of the second one. It's a completely original story for this movie.
Wait,
so.
hold on. She got worked.
Mm-hmm.
Also, shoutouts to Joe Hisaishi, who's making the music for this. For anyone who doesn't know who Joe Hisaishi is, think of every big Studio Ghibli movie. He made the music for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That shit about to be beautiful.
Yep.
It's about to be fucking beautiful.
The Pokemon studio and the fucking composer for Ghibli movies.
Nah, it's gonna be some shit.
If anything, the presentation is gonna be way too on point.
Can't wait. Can't wait for that. It's just a teaser. Ni no Kuni is a
coming
cool
out in
game.
the summer, so
I would recommend checking it out as well. The game itself.
The second game, in terms of the combat, I would definitely recommend. The first one had weird combat, better story. The second game had less of an interesting story, but the combat was better.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know. I always wanted to play them. They're great looking games.
There's like a base building mechanic in the second game, and it's not.
It's a thing.
But it's
All right.
required, so that's why it's kind of.
So before we hit on our last topic and probably the big topic, we're gonna do the fighting game talk really quickly.
Okay.
This is
I was
gonna
about
be.
to ask, should we remove this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna be. It'll be real quick. So early bird registration has concluded, I believe, for Evo 2019, and we got the results of like overall registration numbers with a few surprises. And after this week, me and Shaz also found a few not so big surprises. So let's talk. All right, so coming from the top of the list, I think to nobody's surprise, Smash Ultimate has been killing it across the year. It has the highest entrance. And again, Smash, if you didn't expect Smash to be the top, I think you weren't sure exactly what was going on. Next up, Street Fighter V. Although it started off a little bit slow, Street Fighter is still the most established in the current generation of games. It's been on for the longest, and it's coming to the end of its life cycle, but people are still playing it. Capcom Tour is still going on.
It's Street Fighter.
Tekken 7 is still up there.
It's the 2Go 3D fighter.
Like if you were to if somebody were to ask you what the top 3 games at Evo would be, your answer should always be Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash.
Smash.
In some order, the 3 of them will always be
best
there.
platform fighter, best 2D fighter, best 3D fighter.
Of those 3 games,
like,
if I was gonna say, if we were gonna give an assessment, shout out to Blackjack for this, but honestly, so far Tekken 7 has had consistently over the last year amazing ass matches. I can't think of a bad event for Tekken 7.
They've been marketing. I think the reason why they're so much popular than they used to be, also just having a better game, is I think their marketing team, because of Harada and stuff, is way better.
Yep.
Way better. Like
100%.
It's so good. It's so
100%.
good.
Now, once you break the top 3, that's where we get into some interesting stuff. But again, me and Shaz kind of realized this. After Under Night quickly became a game that once you touch it and play it,
one of my favorites.
if you like anime fighters, I can't even say that there's any reason.
Guilty Gear's still better.
Have you played Under Night?
Yes, we played it together.
Have you played Under Night?
Yes, I would still rather play Guilty Gear.
He drinks lukewarm water. I'm sorry.
Guilty Gear is really good, by the way. But
yeah, Guilty Gear is like.
Under Night is
now we'll bring here
amazing.
now, Alejandro, hold the Guilty Gear thought, because we're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring it up.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring that up. Samurai Showdown. A lot of footage has come out. Last week we talked about all the characters being announced. The game has also just seemed to be really, really in a good place.
Great.
People have been talking really highly about it. Visually, it's striking. It's interesting. SNK has really regained a great spot with this. What people aren't going to be ready for is the damage in that game. That game, man, that's
that was like a
90%
90% super combo.
Can I just say shout out to Lena. Okay. I'm sorry, just continue.
You're good. Mortal Kombat 11, I think right now suffers what a lot of these other games don't, in that we have a release date and everybody's just waiting for the game to drop. We're 2 weeks out from release. We're getting more trailers more characters every week. We are super. We're super enthralled with the game, but I think most people have just gotten to the point where like, hey, just let me have my hands on the game. The beta was not the best experience for a lot of people, but NetherRealms has shown that they're listening and really making a lot of changes. So I expect that registration number to go up with a little bit more time. The first big surprise, I think, for a lot of people, people that didn't know Under Night, I'm not counting it as a surprise, but the first big surprise for people that don't really follow the fighting game scene super heavy would be Dragon Ball FighterZ. A combination of the current meta within the game, as well as some copyright and legal troubles over in Japan, put the future of the game in jeopardy at the end of last year. And taking those two together, a lot of people it went from the game that everybody from every fighting game played to kind of like, it has its core audience, but it's not just like, hey, I'm also entering this.
Having a good game is really important, but doing good PR is important.
Yeah. I feel like the game is still going to get mad views. I feel like when it comes to the actual...
I mean, it still has a pretty prominent spot, if I remember correctly.
But I think it just goes to show that people... I mean, the biggest reason why I like Strix is the meta, the balances. I've been watching and reading people what people think, and it's not a good place, honestly. It's kind of crazy because the character diversity isn't that great. And some people are doing stuff with like Piccolo and stuff, but there's just like the same characters over and over again. It's getting to like the Marvel 3 situation kind of, where it's like, okay, this is kind of getting dangerous, guys. We kind of need to like do something. And of course, like also Strix said,
I think Bardock's pretty big right now.
They're not
Bardock. I think they nerfed him in the last patch, but he's still
but I think
he's still mad high tier.
So
yeah, it's just a whole mess.
I'm gonna plug really quickly. Shaz and I have been doing this. We plan to play every single game on this list prior to Evo. So if you do have any ideas, you can see people learning the game fresh. Come along for the ride with us. And that brings us to the last 2 games on this list. Soul Calibur, I'm going to call an unfortunate casualty. The game just never got the traction that I think it needed to be higher up on this list.
They tried.
That one didn't have as great marketing.
It's 100%. Good, and I think, the marketing wasn't... Mortal Kombat will always have amazing marketing thrown at it. Sam Show has just been really good word of mouth. Under Night benefited from being considered one of the games that killed off Melee.
It was an underdog.
And it had already been gaining some popularity.
The ranking of these lists, we have not done yet because we started to do the last one, but the ranking of these lists is 100% how good the game is plus marketing. Smash, Street Fighter, Tekken, free. Under Night has virtually no marketing, but that game is godlike.
But it legitimately is just an amazing game.
Well, calculator, seriously. Good game, how good the game is right now, plus marketing equals the ranking in Evo. Not even joking.
The thing is, Soul Calibur had a pretty decent amount of marketing. I feel like it's just one of those titles that...
The problem is it was a Bandai Namco game, and they would rather push Tekken.
Yeah. I think it didn't... Because I still think about... More people knew about Tekken DLC than really were focusing on Street Fighter.
And of course Harada's the main guy, and he's like he's Tekken.
But
so
I think coming into this next year with Harada's new position, I wouldn't be surprised if year 2 of Soul Calibur 6 is pretty big.
He might try something, yeah. And then last but not least,
okay.
So Strix and I got to figure this out. We were like,
we played this week, and Shaz definitely has stronger feelings about the game than I do. I think the game suffers on too many fronts. From a playing perspective, it's too simple. From a viewing perspective, it looks fun. It looks fun initially, and then as you start to understand it that falls off.
I think it's because Strix and I. It's not like we're super high tier players of fighting connoisseurs of fighting games, but we do enjoy fighting games, and we've played enough to know what they should feel like. If we were just starting out, we probably have better praises for it, honestly. But this game is something else.
So Alejandro,
I think the quote was, you said the game was hot ass.
I don't remember saying it was hot ass.
Alejandro,
I don't remember saying
this is why I told you to hold the Guilty Gear thought. Okay. After playing BlazBlue, looking at last year's BlazBlue cross tag finals, top 8. Honestly, this game should not be up here over Guilty Gear. There's absolutely no reason to give this game main stage over Guilty Gear.
Player base.
I'd rather have Melee or Guilty Gear.
Alejandro, I'm telling you right now, me and Chaz logged in to play this game. Our lobby,
there's even less people on Guilty Gear.
Our lobby was one of 2 lobbies.
There's even less
having looked, and I'm going to say, looking at Twitch,
This game the second most streamed
this game, Guilty Gear will pull more viewers than that game will. I will guarantee it. It has
fighting game channel, I think, that does Blaze Blue content that gets a decent amount of views. What's it called?
I'm not saying there's not places where this game is enjoyed and liked and beloved.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that the more me and Chaz played it, the more we understood how the game worked. While it has a lot of mechanics, if you're comparing it to something like Under Night, it has a lot of mechanics and there's depth there. But the actual gameplay part isn't fun enough we can only speak for us.
Yeah. Coefficient, that's what it
was. For where we would be able to go it made us want to go deeper. The combos and a lot of the systems, it felt like they were making hey, I want to get into fighting games. Here, let me show you this. And I have opinions on this.
it's also a Sunday game.
Yes, it is, and it's terrible. There's the thing, right? Strix and I because we like to theory craft a lot about fighting games. Like getting into a fighting game, could this thing be used for this? Even though we could just look it up and get the answer. We just like doing that. Strix and I would just do back and forth, and we're like, man, the partner tagging system's pretty strong. You don't really need meter to pull people in, if you do, it comes back pretty fast. Or all these things, and we looked at grand finals for Evo, and our worst fears came true, which was the whole game just had 4 people on screen the entire time.
I would, to anybody that wonders, go watch grand finals from last year. You don't even have to. Just watch top 8, and visually it'll be interesting. And it just felt like the more matches we watched, the less interesting they were. You went back and watched Guilty Gear from last year.
Yeah.
I get why Blaze Blue is their current baby. They're bringing in Grand Blue Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of reasons why this game should be on from a logistics and just an abstract thought perspective.
I just feel bad for Team Blue games, bro. They just consistently are overshadowed by Team Red games.
I think the game. And I think it deserves a spot, but I also think that this is going to lead to Grand Blue and Grand Blue or Guilty Gear having some big news on Sunday. I don't think that this is just for this game is the best, is what we not just what we want to show.
But that's not even true though. They could just do it through FighterZ. That's still art.
Yeah. They could still do it through FighterZ.
They probably will
but did they want? They wanted a blue side. But did they? Is it that they wanted a blue side game and because they have FighterZ for red side?
I feel like either way we're gonna get some sort of Guilty Gear announcement or something.
The only blue side game I can think of is Persona. That's it.
But I think why would you do Persona and not just keep? I think it's a logical pick. This is our newest game. We keep it here because it also shows off a bunch of other franchises that are also ours that people will enjoy. We have another one of these franchises coming out next year. There's a lot of reasons to keep it there. Having played it, you and I played it twice on stream, and we may be tossing 1 or 2 more times off stream. I wouldn't mind going back to it, but it's not a game that I can see myself playing.
It's not a unist.
At the same consistency as... looking at it on this list right now, we have multiple times played Smash, Street Fighter, Tekken, Under Night. We'll probably be playing Mortal Kombat a decent amount. FighterZ, we didn't get it all at the same time, which was the problem. We will eventually try, and then Soul Calibur, we've gone back and played multiple times.
Yeah, we played Soul Calibur quite a bit, actually.
This is the only game I can see within a 2-week period. Both of us were like, let's just go back to playing Unist. Let's not play a 4th day of this game.
Strix and I literally, I think on our 3rd session, we played it for an hour, and I'm like, you want to play Unist? And Strix was like, yes, please. Thank you. Can we switch? It's that's not a joke. That actually happened.
And because from a player perspective, to talk about that briefly, is it lowered the input ceiling too much.
I totally get why. I
It did.
totally get why people were like, "Why is this game on here?" Because we've never played it and we never really watched it. I was like, "Oh, it can't be that bad."
Visually, it looks interesting initially,
Yeah,
and then you realize that
I totally get it now. I half the combos, by the way, you have to either do like a low high or like a overhead to start a combo, which is fine. That's like what a lot of fighting games. But then the middle, like 90% of the combo, not including the ender, is literally one button. Like it's an auto combo that you have to do.
yeah, that's.
And
I think
my brain turned off.
by the time we get to the end of all these games, I think Shaz and I will probably get together and we'll talk about which ones we're most excited for, which ones we expect to do well, and how we think it'll all show up at EVO. It doesn't surprise me that game is 9th, even on a platform where a bunch of other games exist.
I'm not surprised at all anymore. I was surprised when they first announced it, and there was a lot of hate. There's people I follow that really hate that game, like not don't like vehemently hate that game, and I totally understand why, because it's a crossover game. So I played ODA in that game because a lot of my characters aren't in that game. Who's from Unist? I went to play ODA in Unist. No, what I'm saying, the character I like to play in Unist aren't in cross tag, but. Anyway, ODA was in cross tag. She's also part of Unist. When I went back to play Unist to play ODA, I was like, this character was done like injustice. And I totally get why Gordeau is so good in cross tag now, because you made a character who has to put in inputs for good like ranged attacks as normal.
Oh, he's like, not difficult in Unist by any.
Not. He's not. But when, you make
when I say
inputs, just buttons,
like a direction plus A for some like really good moves, it's just kind of like, okay. I think the game though, it's not the worst thing. I just can't see a world where you put that over Guilty Gear, because having played both now, visually and from a player perspective, Guilty Gear is far more interesting.
I don't even like Melee, and I still would rather have Melee on there.
I don't know about that one. Nope.
The reason I say that is because people are gonna get really mad, because every other fighting game, right? It could be like, okay, that makes sense. Smash makes sense. Street Fighter, Tekken, Samurai Shodown, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Fighter. So they all make sense, but cross tag makes no sense to me. Unist makes. Oh yeah, sorry.
EST,
it's
Under
Night in Birth.
Under Night in Birth, late, and in brackets ES.
Oh.
Est. Yeah, it's stupid.
I don't know why I put X.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
The name is stupid.
Unist.
Under Night in Birth.
There's a reason. There's a reason why people call it Unist. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't do it. But we'll get back into that.
Yeah, 100%.
In the 23rd, starting on the 23rd of this month, Shaz and I will begin our. I don't know if Alejandro is getting in as well, but we'll begin our Mortal Kombat journey. So come through and see us struggle at that, and that would be. Yeah, it'll be fun. If you want to be getting anime fighters, I would recommend Unist, even just for its tutorial. It is an amazing tutorial in and of itself.
Or Guilty Gear.
I'm not gonna lie, Unist shits on, but that's in terms of tutorial. Like that is.
They actually build up a combo. I've never really seen games do that too much, and it's like that's really amazing.
They do how you should fundamentally teach somebody to play the game. They do it correctly.
They're like, okay, you know how to do this like low, medium into Shoryu? Okay, we're gonna teach you how to do it from an overhead, from jumping, from like cancel into super. Like it
teaches you paths. We'll go over that, because I will say right now, Shaz and I are not done playing Unist. that will come back up on the channel.
That might be our new Street Fighter. When Street Fighter first came out, that we played that like months on end free. This is our new game.
It's really good. It's
so good.
If you're a fan of older Street Fighters and not 5, it has that level of footsies to it. It's
multiple levels of cancels.
It's so
stupid.
Good. All right,
but I want to get into the game, but I feel like if I started playing with you guys, you just wipe my ass every time. So
I will tell you right now that if you spent like 20 minutes just doing like even like the mission mode, the amount of stuff you can learn is enough to enough to hold your own. It is this. The idea is like, because at this point, all of us, I think, have picked up secondary and third characters just to like mess around. And once you have one character and have an understanding of like the flow of the game, you can really easily transition that between like, maybe I want to try this person. Maybe I want to try this person.
And I think that's the big thing with me in fighting games. Sorry to cut you off, but I think the big thing is like for Eunice, I played around with a bunch of the characters and I just couldn't find the one that is like, that's the one I want. Like for me in Guilty Gear, it's I want to play Come Hyun. And for me in okay. You're the one who didn't want me to say those jokes anymore. Now you're over here saying them, so whatever.
I just, come on.
For Dragon Ball, I know the characters that I want to play. For Street Fighter, I know the characters I want to play. It's like for Eunice, I think it might just be that I need to put in a bit more time, but it's like I just haven't found those characters.
100%.
Like,
That
this is so fun to play
all the time. I really struggle to find one character, and it might take me months to find a secondary, which Eunice is not included because Eunice is amazing. But okay, I know you're not talking +10, but
I don't have anything that's +10. I was talking about.
I think like once I like what Strix said. It's once you understand what the game is about, like the game feel, the mechanics, like just the universal stuff. A lot of it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try. Like I literally the other night tried Nanase and Eunice. It's a character I tried for like the first time, way back too, and I didn't like her. I played her now, and I totally get her. I totally get the gameplay.
Fucking Waxstar asses! Don't let this man lie to you.
I totally get like what the character's about, and it just takes time. Like when I first started playing Street Fighter, I couldn't do charge motions. I couldn't do charge attacks because I've never done it in my life. After playing around the game enough, even though I didn't play charge characters, now I can play Blanca. And
I would say to anybody, like, if you want to get better at fighting games, even if you don't want to play this game, play the tutorial. It will teach you better inputs. It will teach you so many mechanics beyond like its specific gauges. Ignoring its specific gauges, it will teach you mechanics that transfer to every other fighting game that you will play in some way, shape, or form. And even if you don't understand, like if somebody were to say to you, what is a tick throw? They will explain to you in a way that you understand what you're looking for in the other game, even if it doesn't work exactly the same.
Tick throw setups, by the way, follow-ups in that game.
It's so good. We could go on for forever, but we're gonna end off the show because we're really quickly running up on our wall with
that sound though.
With probably the biggest announcement. This week, easily. It's been rumored and people have been yelling about it for a while now.
I feel like as soon as that, because I tried using Twitter as soon as that trailer came out, and I literally like Twitter would not load up. It just didn't work.
Makes sense.
We are talking about
Pokemon.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. We have forgotten the full title of Star Wars Episode 9. This looks to be a pretty big event, we'll say. They aren't... JJ wants to close this out on a pretty big note, it seems like. And the previous guy from 8 has already come back, and he's been noted as saying, I have no problem if JJ wants to retcon some of the stuff I've done. I don't take it personally. A lot of people did not like the last movie.
I didn't like it.
There are plenty of reasons I can understand why people don't like it, even with that said.
I enjoyed it.
It still had some of the best.
I understand why people do like it. Don't get me wrong. It's just there's too many things it did that was just like...
Well, no, I'm what I'm going to say to you, Alejandro, is more people didn't like it than did.
No, I know. Oh, no, I know.
A lot more.
Oh, no, I know.
It still has like a lot of
death
good
threats
things about
involved.
it.
I know.
Yeah. I unironically like it, but I see a bunch of problems with it. I think I just had a good, because I rarely have a bad time watching a movie. Because my theater and how it's set up, but it's just
weird flex. But okay.
That movie had a lot of.
No, I usually enjoy movies too, but this is one of those rare times where I actually went into the theater and just to give you an idea of how much I didn't like the 8th movie, I liked Venom more than that movie.
Like lukewarm water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
I just had more fun watching that movie. It was like
The Rise of Skywalker is the title. We finally have the title. We know all what is we don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but it's coming out Christmas. It'll be a fun watch.
interesting
It'll be
laugh at
good.
the end as well. There's some weird stuff. I'm sure someone will dissect.
I'm not getting into.
Look,
For those that are trying to avoid spoilers, I am not going to speak specifically on the trailer itself.
I didn't say anything. I'm just saying, please calm down. I wasn't
That
even talking-
trailer, if you want to go into this movie blind,
Yeah, don't watch that trailer.
you're gonna want to just go into this movie blind.
Don't watch that.
R2D2 gets titties.
Oof.
And he spoiled the whole damn. He spoiled the secret. All right, and that's the show for this week. I want to thank everybody for coming out. The young boy, Pencils. You ain't got to snap back this week. Let the people know who you are, where they can find you, and all of what you about.
You already know. It's your boy, Snapback and Pencil. I do drawings. That's it. Find me on Twitter. I'm trying to do animations now too, but I mostly do drawings. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, the good boy Alejandro. Good boy. He's out here doing his own thing. But then we kick it on over to Shazzyn, the leech himself. Let the people know where they can find you.
Twitch.tv/Shazzyn. I don't know if I'm gonna stream tonight. I feel like
You about to get yelled at. Keep going.
Yeah. But, let me not make that joke. Yeah, I probably should. Like playing fighting games a lot. Just
Do you?
I don't know. I would just like it. I wish I was good at it, but I really like playing fighting games.
That's the blessed player in the group.
Yikes. But I try to play newer games, but I have a lot of friends who like playing them, so don't count on me playing new releases. Also, I'm a broke boy, so.
All right, I'll let you beat me up in fighting games more often. Understood.
Oh. Yeah, I mean that's it. Follow me on Twitter too.
Please follow both.
I'll be back.
Please follow both these gentlemen. They are they're amazing at what they.
Oh yeah.
Do.
Hashtag broke pocket boys. You already know Cardiac.
No.
We will be back next week. Today we got really close. We hit a 8:15 or so start time. We're always shooting for 8 to 8:15. We knocked it down 15 minutes. We're clean. We're getting there. Slightly more professional. But yeah, every Friday, the videos will go up on YouTube. I'm fighting with the copyright system right now on YouTube and people blocking videos worldwide. I will probably release them just boom, 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 boom. Thank you for coming out. It's been a lot of fun. Follow us all on Twitter for updates as well to what's going on with the show. But you all have been watching the SSJ Cast, where we always go beyond. Thank you, and see you all next week.
He actually said it. That's crazy.
Ooh. To go beyond.
Plus.
Ultra. Okay, good. Thank y'all for telling
You
the
did
truth.
not need to say it like that.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom chat.